We're talking about the history of houseplants. In the dry Egyptian sun about 5,000 years ago, ancient humans created terracotta pots and placed plants in them. They used these clay pots to easily transport the plants. But little did they know, these Egyptians would start a 1,000-year-long lasting craze. For at least 5,000 years, humans have been, domesticating plants and putting them in pots and taking them outside and putting them inside. What might have started as just decor has actually proven to have many health benefits for us humans. Plants make oxygen, filtering out different things in the air that you don't necessarily want in the air. They improve your mood. They make you more positive. When I look at these things every morning, I'm a little bit happier. Just a little bit. The economic state of the world doesn't look as bad when you have plants in your home. Houseplants had their next big bang in Victorian Europe. In the 15th and 16th centuries, plant collectors and merchants from Italy and Belgium began to import plants from the Indies and Asia. Citrus also began to grow in popularity. Portuguese traders began to trade Asian mandarins, and Europeans loved them. Wealthy British families purchased imported fruit like citrus trees and grew them in these little things called orangeries, which, honestly, we need to bring these back. We need to bring orangeries back. It's a little room made to grow citrus. In the late Also, side note, this is the first picture of Charles Darwin, and he's depicted holding a houseplant. Perfect example of something important. In the late 17th and 18th century, windows became more common, and larger windows became much more common too. Colonialism also began to kind of ramp up, which means that all these European countries were getting exotic plants from all these places they were discovering and stealing the resources from. These European traders introduced at least 5,000 plants for growing in Europe. From Africa to Australia, Asia, pretty much every single place that grows plants. French artists began making decorative, little ornate pots, and houseplants became very popular. Plant breeding also kind of started to take place, which people made hybrids. They did whatever they wanted to them. Plants were common in salons, squares, royal homes, and even middle-class people were starting to get a hold of them. Many middle-class people put plants in their home as kind of like a social status kind of thing, because all the rich people were doing it. Why can't they? Orchids were introduced in 1818, and I made a whole nother video about orchids, so if you want to learn more about the history of orchids, check that video up. There'll be a title card sliding in any moment now. We've been planting orchids for 200 years, and people are obsessed with them, and they've been obsessed with them ever since they came out. This is called the orchid craze. As we enter the modern era, people began to think that plants were relics of the past, and people kind of stopped doing it for a little bit. Up until probably World War II, when women got into the workforce because all the men were fighting a war. So once women got into the workplace, they were like, we need to make it more homey in here. So office plants began the next kind of, people started doing plants again. You know what I mean? And then the other big shift in the common modern era was COVID. After COVID-19, many people decided that, they wanted houseplants again. I don't know why. They were in home. They just realized that, maybe they need to get outside more. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. These are my plants. There's my fiscus. I like my fiscus. And then the painted lady philodendron's also pretty cool. Yeah, you know what I mean. I got a lot, though. We got a lot going on. See you in the next video. When the sun sets